All right, you guys, this is your boy Francois coming to you guys on the first round of the playoff. This is the Hamburger Podcast. We are already in the playoffs, so let's get started. To the teams that didn't make it to the playoff, thank you for playing throughout the whole season. Next year should be a better year for you guys. So, and for those teams that did make it to the playoff, congratulations. On this podcast, you guys, I got my boy CJ2K. I got Calvin with me on the podcast. Go ahead, Calvin.
What's going on, everybody?
As I told you guys in the last podcast, Calvin, he's gonna be my kind of like my playoffs analyst. I like his insight on the players and on the fantasy football. So, I like the fact that I brought him in, and he's gonna help me, dissect the playoff, which should be fun and interesting. I gotta say, this playoff is the way the final team, which is Victory Lap, made it to the playoff, is remarkable. I don't know. I think we all was watching that last Monday game, Calvin, where I think he had one tight end left, which was Rudolph. Is that right? Yeah, he had Rudolph left, right?
Yeah. The crazy thing about that Monday night game was that he was only down about 6 or 7 points.
Yeah.
And then at one point by halftime, he only got like 1 point closer to what he needed. So it was like, man, I don't know whether he's actually going to pull it off. And then next year, he gets a touchdown with a one-handed grab. I'm like, wow.
That's crazy.
This is how it ends.
That's crazy. It was him versus Marvin, right?
Yeah, it was. It was really going down to the wire.
Back. I think he caught that touchdown in the fourth quarter, right?
I think it was the fourth quarter to be exact.
Wow, that's crazy. I know Marvin is. Actually, I think I was watching the game. Was I watching? No, we were watching the game with Steve, and I know Marvin was hurt.
I don't think hurt was the word for it, man.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably way deeper than that, because Marvin, the week or before that game started, he was like playoff bound. He was already confident he's making the playoff. And I remember Victory Lap on the chat was like, Marvin, you got this. Even before the game started, was saying, Marvin, you got this. You going to the playoff. But Rudolph had another plan.
Yep, it's like we say, anything is possible, especially in this league. Anything is possible.
Facts. All right, so let's get to the matchup. We on this podcast, we're only gonna talk about the playoff teams, you guys. We're not gonna talk about the consolation rounds. We're only gonna touch on the playoff team. And this week is only 2 matchups. Is Victory Lap versus Blouses. Victory Lap, finished the season. Let's see what record. Finished 7-6, and Blouses finished 7-6. So there are 2 teams that got that final. I'm not gonna say that final. Victory Lap got that final spot. No, actually, King David got that final spot at 6-7, and he's going up against Dub this week, which is 8-5. Dub finished at second in points. Yeah, he finished second in points, and Blouses is right behind him in third. So this is a very, very good matchup. All right, so let's get to the matchups. First one we're gonna talk about is Victory Lap versus Blouses. Let me see where they at on the bracket. Okay, so Victory Lap was 5th in the playoff, and Blouses is ranked 4th in the playoff. So let's talk about their team. Victory Lap got Lamar Jackson as his quarterback. But I ain't gonna lie, this is a tough matchup of quarterbacks. It's Lamar Jackson versus basically Patrick Mahomes. Uh, so which one do you like versus those two?
Between these two, I'm going to pick Lamar Jackson solely based off the fact that he has shown me, regardless of what defense he played against, he has shown up. And to get a little bit more in depth as a reason why I would pick him, I'm going to basically tell you the only game that he basically didn't play good. That was against Pittsburgh. That's the only game he did not put up 20 points. Other than that, every other game that he played, it was either 28 points, 36 points, 22 points, 25, along the lines. Against Seattle, he put up 23. Against New England, he put up 28.
Woo.
Against Houston, he put up 32. Against the Rams, he put up 36. So you can kind of basically get it that he could beat any defense. Either it's going to be by basically just throwing the ball, or it's going to be a little mixture of both. He's going to get you points no matter what.
That is true. That is true.
Now, does not say Pat Mahomes can't do it. Pat Mahomes can get you points, but it's a different level when it comes to Lamar Jackson because of the running ability.
Nice. So it's basically last year MVP, which was Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, basically last year it was all Pat Mahomes. Like Pat Mahomes couldn't do no wrong. This year it's Lamar Jackson. So
and Lamar Jackson should win the MVP this year.
Yep, it's either going to be him or Russell Wilson for MVP. Most definitely.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's move on to the running backs. Victory Lap got Joe Mixon, his first round draft pick, who hasn't been producing that much this year, but some way somehow he made it to the playoff with Joe Mixon.
About Joe Mixon, the first half of the season, for fantasy-wise, he has not been producing little to none at all. But if you look at the past half of the season, he finally has waken up.
Yeah.
So he's actually getting hot at the right time. If you look at the 3 of the last 4 games, he basically has only had one game where he did not score more than 10 points, and that was week 12. Since week 7, he scored 13, 15, 16, 7, and 13, and has 2 rushing touchdowns in 2 of the last 3 games. So he's finally putting up the points at the right time, which is good because you're going to need a bell cow running back that you can trust down the line in the playoffs.
That is so true. And on the other side, Blouses do have, actually I can say he has 2 good bell cow running backs. He has McCaffrey and Aaron Jones. So those are pretty good, solid running backs to have in playoffs.
It is. Usually we always pray to have at least one running back that'll bring it home for us. But the fact that you have possibly 2 that can get you to the finals just off of running backs, man, that is blessings on blessings. But I have to be fair. Aaron Jones has struggled 3 of the last 4 games, including against good defenses, to be exact. But do I say that Aaron Jones is going to struggle the rest of the playoffs? I don't think so. But do I expect him to put up 25 points for the next 3 weeks? That's asking a lot from him. I could still think that he'll get you anywhere between 12 and 15, which is basically around his projected average for this week. But I think Aaron Jones will be fine. They're going to get him a lot of touches.
Okay. All right. I agree with that. I truly agree with that. And then Victory Lap. Who's Victory Lap on second running back?
His second running back is Adrian Peterson.
Ooh.
Which is good and bad because he's basically splitting carries with Darius Geis. So they basically cancel each other out. So it's really going to come down to who do you think is going to actually score that rushing touchdown if they ever get into the red zone.
Richard Peterson and Geis, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So who do you think has the best two running backs?
Well, my opinion as far as the best running backs, it'll be Blouses. Because it's not really the fact of how many they had points they scored throughout the season. To me, it really just comes down to consistency. And both of them, as a tandem, they've been a lot more consistent throughout the season. Now, do I think who's probably has the hottest hands between the two as far as the last 4 games? It's basically kind of even, only for the fact that Aaron Jones has struggled and Joe Mixon basically caught fire. So as of right now, it's basically even, but if I'm going to put my money on which running back duo, I'll pick Blouses.
Okay, and I agree with that. 100%. Okay. So let's move on to the receivers. Like I said, Victory Lap got Mike Evans and Brown on as his top receivers, as his starting receivers. Then Blouses on unclaimed Blouses, he have Metcalf and DJ Moore. I don't know. I think Mike Evans might be able to go off against Indiana. What do you think?
As far as Mike Evans goes, I love watching Mike Evans play. He is what you call an unstoppable machine. Only when he gets the ball. That's the problem. Anytime he gets anywhere more than 5 catches in a game, he just balls out. Anything less than that, your team just might lose because you're expecting him to give you his projected points. Now, if you look at the first half of the season, Mike Evans has been balling. Mm-hmm. He may give you like a 2-point here, a 6-point here, but you see a lot of those 14 points, a 37-point that he had in week 3. But if you look at the last 4 weeks, not only he has no more than 4 catches, but the most points he had was 8. So you're kind of like wondering, when is he actually going to have his breakout game again? Because if he's not getting the ball, that means Chris Godwin's getting the ball.
Exactly.
So it's kind of tough. It's almost like they switched roles in a sense.
Okay. I agree with that. So look, then he has is that AJ Brown?
Yeah, AJ Brown, the rookie.
I don't know. AJ Brown has not been that exciting this whole season. He only had three double-digit games. One versus Cleveland in the first week, and then week 4 against Atlanta, he had 21.4 points. And then recently in week 12, he had 19.5 points against Jacksonville. I don't know. I think that's a start.
Usually, I don't like to rely on rookies, especially come playoff time, unless they have shown me consistency at some point during the season. Either it's going to be the last 4 games of the season, or at least the last half of the season. If you show me some consistency, most likely I would put you in the lineup. But if you don't have any other options, he's not a bad choice. But there may be some options that Victory Lap might consider.